This tutorial is brought to you by the brand new Pick Up Perfection weaving class. This is an online class that you'll find over at my online weaving school. If you've ever wanted to start using pickup sticks and find out how much fun it really is, come on over and explore with me. We'll be looking at weaving weft floats, warp floats, combining the two, how to use a heddle rod, supplementary wefts, and finishing with a beautiful project. You won't want to miss this one. I'll leave the link in the description down below. When my husband was first having a go at pickup, I gave him a few basic pointers, and then he sort of took the loom and went off by himself and started weaving. This is how he likes to learn. And he brought it to me a little while later, and he was very proud of himself. And he said, "Look at what I've done." And I looked at it and said, "Oh wow, that's a really beautiful pattern. I love that, except it's going to fall apart." Well, that was a little bit disappointing. But once I explained to him why, he could totally see the error that he had made. So when we're doing pickup, I've already got a pickup stick inserted here. We're doing a lot of floats instead of the 1-1 normal interlacement that plain weave is. So in plain weave, the weft goes over one warp thread, under the next, over one, under, over, under, all the way across. It makes a very stable fabric. But in pickup, we are changing that interlacement so that we end up with floats of all different sizes. So let's have a look at the pickup that I've got here. It's a 3 down 2 up pickup, and I'm going to do some weft floats with it. So I'll start by just coming through, okay, and then I'll beat that. And I think to myself, oh, I like the way that looks. I'm going to do that again. So I put my pickup stick again. I've got to go around the edge because otherwise it's just going to unweave into that shed again. And then I'll beat that. And then I think, oh, that really looks great. I'm going to do that again. Okay, we see a pattern forming here. And so on and so forth. We just keep going with that pattern. Now that does create a really interesting pattern. So we have these grouped weft floats here that make a lot of texture, and they end up being in these kind of blocks, which is really, really nice. But if I go on indefinitely like this, I'm not providing any stability to this fabric. So let's see, I did 1, 2, 3, 4. I've done 4 of those big floats. Now I better follow it up with some plain weave. I could just do an up shed, or I could go, I think it needs to be a little more stable, and I could do a down shed as well. And then things are a lot sturdier than they were before. The thing is that if I don't put any plain weave in, I just have weft floats going across here, and I have warp floats going up here, and that just continues and continues, so that if that's all that I do, then the thread is going to fall out of place once I get it off the loom. But if I do a certain number of the weft floats, and then I do some plain weave, the plain weave, think of it as a tie down. It ties down what you've already done, it bunches it in, and makes it viable as a weave that's not going to just fall to bits. So here I've woven a second sequence of the same thing, just those 4 repeats of the weft floats, and you can see how very unstable that is. I can just push that around, and you can imagine that once you cut it up from the loom and it's no longer under tension, there's nothing to stop that just pulling out and completely collapsing on you. But if I now, I'll just beat that back into place. If I now go into the up shed, and I'll put a down shed as well, but you can see already how that interlacement has locked that pattern into place. And There we go. We now have something that's stable and in place. I can't push it up and out of place anymore. I'd still be careful about what kind of project I was going to use something like this with. The weft floats are very long, so they're not going to be practical. They're going to be much better suited to a decorative project. But I do think it's a really beautiful pattern. And by adding the plain weave in, we've made it usable.